Oh my gosh. So we're sitting here panicking. It's like I've done this like 100 times, and there's a button down here that says start broadcast, start to go live, and it's like it wasn't there. I didn't know what to do. So I literally had to close out of all the browsers, end everything, open back up, and there it showed up again. So that's what happens with technology. So hey, this is Greg Ryder saying thanks for hanging out with us. Now hopefully everyone's gonna get back here. Now you're gonna have to hit refresh. I think people there are gonna have to hit refresh. Oh let me be so we're sitting here panicking. It's like I have another laptop that's going on. So I think people, if you can hear me, you might have to hit refresh your screen on your side. There might be some things there. I see that there's a number of people here. So if you can hear us okay now, go ahead and type in the chat box. We can hear you. We can see you. Everything's looking good. And we're going to get started. So this is going to be recorded anyway, so everyone can be able to watch the recording. So we're going to have the recording and get things going. So this is Greg Ryder, and I'm the founder of Inspiration by God, amongst many other things. And I want to say thank you for reading our emails and being on our list. And we're always trying to inspire and motivate people and expose them to things that can make their life better. And matter of fact, I'm going to write a book about the law of exposure, because I believe that if you're not, education and learning is what everything is all about. And the more you learn, the more you grow, the more things get better for you. And so with that, we're always trying to bring you people that we've met, that we've run into. And because I speak and I travel a lot and I'm in some different circles, I get exposed to all kinds of cool stuff. So I really am infatuated with the brain and how the brain can heal your body and do some stuff. And I'm going to tell Dr. Otis a little story when we get going here in a second. But with that being said, through a friend of mine, I got introduced to Dr. Jim Otis, and he is a brain expert. And he's been working with the brain, and he's a certified functional neurologist, and he's been in practice for over 30 years, helping people with brain injuries, strokes, and everything you can think of that's related to that. And again, I'm sure he would agree with this, but I've been told that if you can take care of the brain will take care of the rest of the body. But if you don't take care of the brain, you don't have a chance to take care of the rest of the body, right? So he developed this thing called BrainTime, and it's an easy to use, at home, do-it-yourself remedy to help the brain repair itself and help your body function properly. We're going to get into that. That's what tonight's all about. And we're really kind of focused on the sleep today. But believe me, it's way beyond sleep. It's way beyond that. And you know why I think it's so important is when we're healthier and we sleep better, what does that give us? Happiness, peace of mind, better relationships, better days at the job. I mean, everything in our life is better. So that being said, Dr. Otis, I want to say thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate you putting up with our technical difficulties. Welcome to our Google Hangout Live.
I am so glad to be here, and I'm really impressed that everybody hang with us. And it's kind of interesting. So, yeah, I'm glad to be here.
And he's done a number of webinars and online presentations, but this is your first Google Hangout, right?
That's right. That's right.
So I like doing these because, to me, your video, you're hearing me. Hopefully, you're feeling my energy. You're seeing me. Same thing with Dr. Otis. And I think it's just much more personable. But we literally are like a live TV show right now, right? So there's obviously some technical problems that could go wrong for us rookies, right?
That's right.
So tell us real quick. Give us I know we're a little late, but everyone's going to be okay with that. Get 1 or 2 minutes about this whole brain and your background, your 30 years, and kind of why are you so passionate about this field of helping people without drugs?
Yeah. Okay. So how I got interested in the brain and sleep, it started 30 years ago. My first wife had a brain injury. She couldn't talk. We went all over the place trying to get help for her. Standard medical routes, occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech language therapy, you name it, acupuncture, chiropractic, craniosacral, and nothing helped. And so she couldn't talk, and she would go in and out of talking. And it got, she recovered, but it took a long time. It was, oh my goodness, like so frustrating for both of us and disheartening. And that really set the course that was a life changer for me. I was new in practice as a chiropractor at that point in time, and I made a decision. hey, I'm going to learn about the brain. I'm going to help people with brain injuries. And so I did. And that was 30 years ago. And I went around the world, studied with the best people out there, got 22 letters after my name. I figured out that one day, woke up, hey, there's 22 letters sitting there. So really became an expert, became with a specialty in brain injuries. So, people start coming around, from around the Bay Area to come to see me for brain injuries. And then as part of helping those people, that population group, I developed BrainTime, what we now call BrainTime. And it helped the people with brain injuries recover faster, all kinds of stuff where they had been plateaued for years. And then what really got interesting is that after a period of time, we started noticing that it's helping seniors with word retrieval or balance. And parents are saying, hey, my kid is cooperating more, or they're getting better grades. So we started to see it's helpful for a wide range of people. And maybe I'm gonna share a screen here so I can show you some of this stuff. That we start getting reports. Let me see if I can find them here. And this is not atypical. Where somebody, this woman Sandra, she was actually coming to me for a different reason. She had a whole different set of conditions, but as just a side benefit, one of her treatment modalities, I started her with BrainTime, and she just said, "Hey, I'm falling asleep better," and I'm falling asleep faster than my husband, and it used to be way the other way, and that was after a few minutes of BrainTime. And then, another guy came in again. He was not coming in for sleep. He was coming in for some other issue, and a lot of other issues. We started him on BrainTime, and he came back and said, "Hey, wow, I'm sleeping better." And that's no light thing. It actually, I've had trouble for years. So, anyway, that's how I became interested in sleep. And then started with the brain, migrated into these other things, and then became increasingly aware sleep is really, really, really important. And so that's where I've been focusing a lot of my time recently, training physicians about this, and the public, and now you, Greg, and your group. So anyway, that's the background.
Well, let me tell you a quick little story. So I kind of met a guy who was also in the area of brain, and he was a physical therapist, and he created this thing that he called brain body calibration. And he did these muscle exercises, and he kind of, the way I don't know that he would say it the way I'm going to say it, but to me, the easiest way to explain what he does, he would say stuff as little as, I fell off a bike when I was 4 years old and bumped my head. I injured my brain at that point. And he's like, little parts of your brain would go to sleep. And it would cause problems down the road. And then by doing these various muscle exercises, he has 450 of them, he says it would wake up that part of the brain. That brain would start functioning in the part of the body, and that would heal something somewhere else. And I'm a marketing expert, so he wanted me to help him and hire me for marketing. I'm like, well, I got experiences. So we went through it. My wife went through it. Well, my wife had been an asthmatic for basically her entire life, like 30, 40 years. And after working on her and doing this for 2 or 3 months, she didn't need her inhaler anymore. It was like, wow. And I had been visiting a chiropractor the better part of 20 years on a regular basis. I love chiropractors. They'd always help me. I'd go in there, get my neck, my body, and I loved it. Well, after him working on me, I haven't been to the chiropractor once in 3 years. It's just like, wow. So it's like, I've had the personal experience of this brain doing something, the body, and then from there, I started studying it. So when you started doing sleep, I also have a really good friend of mine who he couldn't make it on live, but I'll get him to watch this. But he's lived on less than 3 4 hours of sleep for his whole. He's 50, like my age, 52, for his whole life. And it's just, he's tried everything, like everything. He's just like, I just live with it. I just deal with it. That's just my life. So hopefully maybe this will work for him. So here's what we're gonna do, everybody.
A couple thoughts. A couple thoughts, if I can. So you bring up such good points about how you were doing like hand exercises and these things, and your wife was doing these things that helped her brain, that helped her asthma, that helped you, so you didn't have to go to the chiropractor. That kind of stuff happens when you get your brain working better. A healthy brain causes healthy sleep. It also really interrupts pain patterns. And for me as a chiropractor, I see a lot of people that come in that referred from other chiropractors, acupuncturists, medical doctors who aren't responding well. And so we get their brain in good shape, and then these other things get better, just like your experience and just like your wife with the asthma. It's not uncommon. Your brain controls your digestion, your blood pressure, your everything, your breathing.
Everything.
So get your brain in good shape. You're happy. You live better. Healthy brain, you live better.
I love it. And it's like he worked with Olympic athletes that never got a medal, and they got medals. He worked with athletes, every athlete ever worked with, jumped higher, ran faster, broke records. It's just amazing. So it's so cool. So here's what we're gonna do, everybody. I see that we already have one question coming up, and I'm gonna throw it off to Dr. Otis. He's gonna go through a presentation, like a formal presentation. I'm gonna try to. I have never heard this presentation, so if I feel there's this, I'm gonna interrupt him and ask questions. But you guys can go ahead and ask your questions, and at the end, 30, 40 minutes from now, we'll go ahead and we'll answer all your questions live. And we will not leave this until everybody has their questions live.
That's right.
So
that's right.
With that being said, I'm going to throw it off to you. Take it away.
Great. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen, Greg. And then if you see any interesting questions coming through, feel free to interrupt me, or if you do, that'd be great. So.
And we have some polls throughout this thing. So we're going to ask you some questions and ask you guys to take like an interactive poll from time to time too. So we'll try to keep it interactive for you.
Oh, okay. So first, and maybe people might want to like just type this into the into the chat box. How do you feel if you don't get a good night's sleep? So, and for most of us, it's, oh man, I feel irritable. I'm tired. I'm groggy. For me, I feel like there's cotton in my brain. I'm more likely to, get whatever. I can't think clearly. It's really common. People don't like it when they have a poor night of sleep, and there are studies out there, all kinds of studies saying that just one night of poor sleep, your IQ is lower the next day. It's not a permanent thing, but your IQ is lower. You cannot function as well. Your memory doesn't work as well. One night of poor sleep, your impaired memory. Reduced productivity. In fact, there are these national surveys out there, studies where the average worker who's an employed, like W-2, kind of person, there is an average per capita, per worker loss of $2,000 per year due to sleep, not enough sleep. This is, these academic studies. So at any rate, one night of poor sleep, it makes your brain not work good, and you don't feel good, and you just don't function as well. And Greg, if you want to pop out, if any of whatever people are chatting in there, I can't see.
Yeah, they're saying groggy and tired, extremely tired and groggy. I like this one. I feel more tired than when I went to bed.
That's great. That's great.
And of course, irritable. I feel terrible. I can't stand it. It's all over the board. It's not fun. Kind of like when we couldn't get online there for a second.
Yeah, it's not fun. That's right. It's not fun. Okay, so we have a kind of universal consensus here. It says, hey, I don't like it when I lose a night of sleep. Now, it's not good, but it really gets serious. And here's my big concern, Greg, is if that becomes chronic. And by chronic, what we mean is anything longer than 3 weeks. And the reason that is concerning to me is that poor sleep is a major risk factor for a surprisingly large number of diseases. And one of them, and we'll just start with one right now, Alzheimer's. And so, how many people are concerned about getting Alzheimer's? It's almost universal. When I ask people, hey, what do you have anything that concerns you about getting older? It's often, oh man, I don't want to get Alzheimer's. I really don't want to be a burden to my family. That kind of thing. I want to be able to enjoy my years.
I think everyone agrees with that.
Yeah. It's just
memory loss, all that stuff.
Human. Yeah, it's just the essence of being human is being able to, be able to think and recognize. Well, maybe not the essence, but it's a very important part. So now here's the thing. Poor sleep is a major risk factor for Alzheimer's. And it's an independent risk factor, which means that if you don't get good sleep, you are more likely to get Alzheimer's. And the reason is that during the day, we go through our day and we're active, we're doing all kinds of things, and we accumulate toxins in our brain. And Those toxins get cleaned out during sleep. So here's what happens during sleep. The drainage around our brain, that's called the lymphatic drainage, the flow increases 10 times when we're sleeping. And that's what cleans out all the toxins. It just removes these things that would build up, these dangerous toxins would build up to cause Alzheimer's. So it's kind of like you go through the day, toxins accumulate in your brain. If they accumulate too much, it builds up to cause Alzheimer's. So sleep clears the garbage. So we need that daily cleaning in order to protect ourselves from Alzheimer's. And now here's the thing. It's not just Alzheimer's. Chronic problems with sleep are major independent risk factors for Alzheimer's, heart disease, stroke, diabetes, pain. If you have chronic pain and it's like, hey, like it's just hard to get healed from that old injury, there is a significant chance that if you have poor sleep, that's making it worse. Weight gain, if you're having a hard time losing weight and you have poor sleep, the sleep is a factor. Poor sleep, lack of sleep will increase your risk of getting cancer, and especially there's a number of different kinds of cancers. So chronic problems with sleep is not a good picture, and this is anything like longer than 3 weeks is how it starts to really accumulate and stress your brain and stress the rest of your body. So this is one of the things that got me, just so motivated to get on with you, Greg, and to start training physicians about sleep and just how we really need to help people get better sleep. And
yeah, I don't think anyone puts 2 and 2 together, right? It's
no,
like you don't think about sleep doing that. Hey, I got to work, I got 3 jobs, I got my kids, I got this busy life.
That's right.
Sleep can wait.
That's right. And hey, you know what, Greg? This might be a good time for that poll question. Do you? I forget how we worded it. Do you skip sleep in order to get your work done? And I just want to get a quick poll on what people say.
So the question we're asking is, do you miss sleep in order to get more work done? And then I put the answer is yes, no, or every once in a while.
Okay.
So you guys can go ahead and take that poll. We'll leave that poll up just for a few minutes while he goes through a few more slides, and then we'll pause and we'll make the results available to everybody. So go ahead, take that poll, and we'll make the results here in just a second.
Okay. So we know now, hey, sleep is important. It leads to all these different kinds of problems. You got to have good sleep. And now here's the thing. We're talking about putting 2 and 2 together. Guess what? The CDC has put 2 and 2 together. In fact, they have come out with wording saying that problems with sleep in the United States are epidemic. And they're concerned precisely because of those reasons that we just talked about, because they know it leads to all of these different it causes an increased risk of heart disease, stroke, you name it, that kind of stuff. So then this leaves us with the question, and by epidemic, what they mean is up to 40%. The CDC is up to 40% of people in the United States, adults in the United States, have problems with sleep, either intermittently or just ongoing every night. And so then why in the world do so many people have problems with sleep? Why is this? One is people work extra. And and we'll see what the poll shows here, but on average, about 25% of people say, at some point, yeah, I miss sleep because I have to get work done. And we'll see. We're not doing a scientific poll here, but it's not uncommon. Now, but there's a whole nother group of people, like this up to 40%, that have trouble with sleep. Just no matter, even if they go to bed on time. And we were chatting a little bit before we got started of, hey, who has trouble falling asleep? Who has trouble staying asleep? They're both different kinds of problems with sleep. Some people just lie away. Like the woman I showed you that testimonial, say, she used to just lie there while her husband was asleep. That's a problem. A lot of other people, man, I fall asleep. I just wake up in the middle of the night and I can't get back to sleep. And that's a different kind of problem. But 40% of people, up to 40%, have trouble with sleep. So what do you do? Doctors generally, they don't have a lot to offer other than sleep medication. And I'm sorry to say, that's not a good solution. And for a number of reasons. One reason is, on average, the average most commonly used sleeping medication, it only adds 11 minutes of additional sleep each night.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah, it's
Oh my
not a big
gosh.
deal. It's kind of interesting. Isn't it?
They don't tell you that when they sell you the big bottle of
No,
pills,
no,
right?
that's not on the ad you see on TV. That's the average 11 minutes of additional sleep. And then, but now here comes the other stuff. It's not there's. I didn't even put this on the slide, but there's all these new studies that have come out confirming when you use sleeping medication for more than 3 months, and then even higher, even worse. Well, let me go back. When you use sleeping medication for more than 3 months, it increases your risk of Alzheimer's. And if you use sleeping medication like 1 to 2 years or longer, it'll double your risk of Alzheimer's. It's not a good solution for getting more sleep, So you need sleep to prevent Alzheimer's, but don't try to do it with sleeping medication. And then on top of that, they're not recommended for people over age 60. They cause increased risk of it's not just Alzheimer's. So anyway, sleep medication, use it if you have to, but man, don't make it a habit. Really don't make it a habit. And most people just don't like the way they feel anyway afterwards.
Yeah.
So,
but let me end this poll and show the results.
Okay, great.
Everyone's taken it. So basically, we had 19% say yes, 38% say no, and 44% say every once in a while.
That's okay. So that might be right about in line with national average, and maybe we just have a more health conscious group here as well. So really interesting. My thought there is, my encouragement to you, with all of you, just like know that you're paying a price if you stay up and you work, and just don't make that a habit. That's my strong recommendation. Okay, so thank you for everybody who answered that. And so sleep medication isn't going to do it. And you know what? A lot of people, they do all the right things. Like they go to bed on time and they wind down in the evening and they don't use computers before bed and they still have trouble. So why is it? Why do so many people still have trouble? And it's really because there are problems in their brain that are keeping them from falling asleep. And that's actually what we were going to title this thing: Avoid the 3 problems in your brain that keep you awake when you'd rather be sleeping. That's what we're going to cover in the rest of this presentation. And the really key thing is that a healthy brain creates healthy sleep. That's the bottom line. That's the takeaway, the nugget for this entire evening. A healthy brain creates healthy sleep. And like we were talking earlier with the stories from Greg, it can help a lot of other things as well, everything from asthma to back pain. So a healthy brain creates healthy sleep. So we've got to get in this cycle of a healthy brain creating healthy sleep, which sleep helps heal our brain. And so it becomes a cycle. And so it goes like this: a healthy brain creates healthy sleep. Healthy sleep, good sleep, helps you keep your brain healthy. Unfortunately, many people get stuck in this cycle of their brain starts to go south. That makes for unhealthy sleep. Then they don't sleep as well, and that further stresses the brain. And so it's just, unfortunately, it's really common, not necessary, but really common for as people get older, they have more fragmented sleep. They have more trouble sleeping. And then they have trouble sleeping, and that's damaging for the brain. Like we were talking earlier, it leads to more Alzheimer's and a lot of other brain problems. And then that more damage to the brain, more trouble sleeping, and then we're just stuck in this loop over here. And that's what we're going to talk about today: how to get out of that loop, out of the unhealthy loop and into the healthy loop. So that's it. Let's get going. So we talked about 3 problems in your brain. Let's go. We talked this stuff already. Let me get down to this next part. I'm gonna let me get down to the next part of the presentation, past these testimonials. But anyway, doctors are recommending. We have doctors around the country who use BrainTime, and they're recommending sleep around the world, I should say. Okay, BrainTime for sleep. Let's get down to the next part of the presentation. So we're going to talk about 3 problems in your brain that keep you from sleeping. And we're going to count backwards from 3 until 1, partially as a motivation to get you to keep everybody on the call. So problem number 3, circadian rhythms are out of sync. And let's explain what we mean by circadian rhythms. A circadian rhythm is a 24-hour cycle. And these cycles are everywhere in nature. I mean, literally every living form on Earth has these 24-hour cycles, from bacteria to fungi to animals to you. And it's also, there are 24-hour cycles of activity, of rest and activity in every tissue in your brain, in your body. Your brain is one we're going to talk about, but your hormone system. Hormones fluctuate up and down during the 24 hours. Your immune system, up and down. The strength of your digestion, up and down. So we've got these rhythms just coursing through every tissue in our body, and we really need to honor those rhythms. They're part of God's creation. They're part of nature. These rhythms are everywhere. And so we really need to honor those. And what that means practically, which a lot of people ignore, is you need to get on a regular sleep and wake cycle. So that's my first piece of your first step in getting good sleep, is even if you have like trouble sleeping sometime, establish a regular bedtime and a regular wake up time. And you might need to use an alarm clock at first. Okay, I'm going to go to bed at 10 and wake up at 6, or whatever it is that you choose that works in your schedule, in your family life, in your work life, you know, that kind of stuff. Regular to bed at the same time, wake up at the same time. And you might need to use an alarm clock on the wake up end of it, but you know, pretty soon your body's going to get used to it. I imagine we've all had this situation where you change your schedule and you start setting your alarm clock a half hour earlier, and you know, after 3 days you wake up automatically at that time right before your alarm clock goes off. Your body is a creature of habit. It will get used to it. That's healthy for your body, that regularity. So hey, let's drop another poll, Greg. And how many people sleep in on the weekends?
Okay. I worded it, because I had to program all this in. Do you sleep in more than 1 hour later on the weekends? So you guys can all take that poll now, and we'll give those results in a few minutes.
Great. So again, I'm eager to see this. And one of the I'll just give away part of this right now, is that there are all kinds of studies coming out that it's really not healthy to sleep in on the weekends, especially if you sleep in more than an hour or two. And it's because that disrupts these circadian rhythms that get a momentum in your body. And there's all these studies. If you sleep in more than 2 hours on the weekend, you have more inflammatory markers in your body, and it's causal. It happens after you sleep in. If you sleep in, you're more prone to get more than 2 hours, an hour or two. You're more prone to get diabetes and more difficulty with blood sugar regulation. So anyway, there's a phenomenon that we call social jet lag. That is this: hey, I sleep at different times on the weekdays and on the weekends, and my coaching for people here on this webinar is, don't make that a habit. Keep it pretty darn regular. Yeah, of course you're going to go out on New Year's Eve and you're going to party and all that kind of stuff. But on average, set your life up so that you have the same wake up time, sleep time, pretty much the same on weekends as you do on the weekdays. And so we call it go to bed and wake up at the same time, and avoid every day, weekends and weekdays, and avoid social jet lag. So here's another little like factoid kind of thing. Did you know, Greg, that on 2 days every year in advance, we can predict, we know with certainty, there will be more deaths and more morbidity and mortality, more entrances into hospital, admissions into hospitals, and more deaths. 2 days every year. And does anybody know what days those are?
Is it logical?
It's totally logical. Based on what? It's the day after daylight savings time changes.
Wow.
It's true. After 1 hour of the shift of that circadian rhythm, it's enough to stress people who are vulnerable. It stresses everybody, but people who are vulnerable it really hits them. You know, they end up, there's higher admissions to hospitals and more deaths. So anyway, that just, we go back. Here's the main point. Go to bed and wake up at the same time every day. Don't do your, you know, don't put a daylight saving time number on yourself, you know, voluntarily. Okay.
Gotcha. All right, let me end this poll because it looks like everyone's done doing it. So I'm going to end it.
Great.
We have 31% said yes, they do sleep in 1 hour later on the weekends, and 69% said no, they do not.
Okay. So now 31% folks, you know, you have more information about that choice. You have more information with which to make that choice. Okay, so now that's problem number 3 in your brain, is that your circadian rhythms are out of whack. And so, and we've talked about one really key way to do that, to get that, to keep it in whack and to keep it in balance and to get it back into balance. And that is just go to bed at the same time and wake up at the same time. Now, there's other ways, like, you know, how you do your exercise programs and how you do your a lot of different things, and how you time light exposure, which we do an educational program with our BrainTime emails, we call them positive neurology emails, email tips. But for right now, this is a really good tip. Okay, so now problem number 2. There's 3 problems in your brain that keep you from sleeping when you'd rather be, keep you awake when you'd rather be sleeping. One is circadian rhythms are out of sync. Number 2, there are stress circuits in your brain that are not turning off. So we kind of know this stuff. You know, on days that you're stressed, it's harder to sleep. And here's a really key point. Stress, well, let's go back. This chronic stress is a big deal. And one, it'll keep you from sleeping. And then number 2, 80% of all illnesses, you know, doctors say, hey, they're related to stress. That means that either stress causes that illness or makes it worse. And we know part of the mechanism is it interferes with your sleep. All of that said, all of this stuff that we're saying, hey, yeah, stress can cause illness, I want to make crystal clear, stress is not bad. In fact, if we handle stress well, and if our brain handles stress well, we thrive with it. You know, just think, we need to be challenged in order to learn and grow. So stress is not bad. We just have to deal with it well. And that means we have to get your brain in good shape, because a healthy brain manages stress. And so where your brain manages stress in lots of different ways, in different parts of your brain. But right now, one of the really key areas is in the base of your brain, in an area that manages the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. So the base of your brain is the non-thinking part. It's not where you make conscious decisions. This is the part of your brain that does your blood pressure and your breathing and your circulation and your body posture and all that kind of stuff. It's not thinking there. And it's also where the most fundamental regulation of fight or flight or rest and digest happens. So we're going to talk right now about a way to turn on the rest and digest part of your brain. So you need both. You need both. You need to be able to mount a stress response to deal with challenges, but then you need to be able to turn it off. So when people get into problems with sleep, they're not turning it off. That stress response is stayed on and it's interfering with sleep. So you need to turn it off. And here's one way to do it. It's with breathing. And you've all heard this thing, hey, slow down, take a deep breath, man. And, you know, chill, take a deep breath. And why does that work? Why is that? It's because the slow, deep breathing activates the parasympathetic part of the nervous system in your brain. When we're under stress, the fight or flight response kicks in, and we have shallow, rapid breathing. When we're relaxed, we're more likely, you can just imagine, you know, you stretch your arms back and you take a deep breath. That's a parasympathetic response. Now you can take this a step farther than just taking a deep breath, like the common wisdom goes. And here's what you can do. You can time your breathing. And you want to breathe out for longer than you breathe in. And we can actually do this for a little while. What we're going to do, we can breathe in for a count of 4 and out for a count of 6. And let's do that now for 3 breath cycles. So I'm going to say breathe in, 2, 3, 4, and everybody just stretch your breath to match that length of time that I'm counting. And then I'll say breathe out, and I'll count to 6. And stretch your exhale to match the time that I'm counting. So you want to take, pretty full deep breaths, and we're going to do 3 of these. Okay, so you ready? Okay, so breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so that long, slow breathing activated the parasympathetic part of your nervous system. That's the part that facilitates digestion, relaxation, the rest and digest part of your nervous system, the part that helps you sleep. Okay, that simple exercise can help turn off the stress response in the base of your brain. And Greg, do you think maybe people could just type in? I'm not watching the typing in section. Maybe get some comments about what people experienced with that.
Yeah, so I like that. So for me, type your comments in the chat box what that little breathing exercise did for you, but it really calmed me down. I noticed that I don't breathe like that. Right? It's like it's like, okay, so that's different.
Yeah. Yeah, and no, this is not a kind of breathing you do like during the day. This is a conscious, okay, I'm going to take a break right now, like a 1-minute break or whatever, it's 2-minute break, and consciously engage the rest part of my brain. Okay, so this is a good thing to do during take a break during the day, and especially like before bed. It's a great thing to do. Okay, now, so anyway, we have problem number 1, or problem number 3 is circadian rhythms out of whack. Problem number 2 is stress response doesn't turn off. One way to help turn off that stress response is with breathing, and another really great way is with BrainTime. And one of the things that we started finding really soon, and as we started working with people with this program, is that people were saying, "Wow, I handle stress better." And this one woman is a copywriter and a graphic artist, and she just said, "Hey, I'm getting so much more done. I can just tackle my desk. It used to feel overwhelming." And we get this from, let me see if I can find some more in here. I'm gonna get these things jumbled. Parents saying, "Hey, our children are less stressed. Their things are going smoothly, more organized. This mom, my son is more cooperative. In essence, less stressed." And this was after he was using BrainTime. So BrainTime is a really great way also to help manage stress because it increases the flexibility in your brain, which we'll talk about later. It helps turn off the stress response. And so now.
No, it's interesting. And so Elizabeth said, "I'm ready for bed now." And Marley said, "Calms and relaxes." And Christy said, "Relaxation, almost like high feeling. Loved it. Thank you." And Terry said, "Relaxing." And Mary said, "Feels wonderful. And I want to do this more." And so, yeah, everyone, you have a little experience. It's like such a simple thing that you can do.
Yeah.
And the impact. And again, I always like to comment on this. I'm one of these guys that believes in the compound effects. Like, do it today, do it tomorrow, do it the next day. Yeah, great. But do it every day for the rest of your life. You really make an impact.
Yeah. And
the compound effect.
I totally concur with that, Greg. And that when as you start to make it a habit, just do it a couple times every day, your brain gets used to that, and it'll hold on to that change. Our brains are learning machines, and if we're teaching it to be relaxed, it'll help you be relaxed. It'll start doing it automatically. Even when we're doing things like trying to get on, a Hangout and it ain't working. So it's a really wonderful tool to have our brains be able to support us that way. Here's a doctor who's finding that she recommends, she's looking for ways to help her patients, and she says, oh, well, I will recommend yoga, or I'll recommend, exercise or journaling. She says, but wow, with BrainTime, it's so easy, and we get such good compliance, and people feel calmer. So let's move on. We've covered 2 problems in your brain. Circadian rhythms out of sync, stress response not turning off, and then now we're to the problem number 1, which really comes down to, and this kind of underlies the other problems anyway, is a lack of flexibility in your brain. And so we said earlier that, hey, stress is okay. We need to be able to mount a stress response, but we need to be flexible and turn it off. Okay? We need to be awake, but then we need to shift gears in our brain and turn on the sleep signal. Okay? So our brain changes states all the time. It needs to be flexible to change from one state to the other, active to rest, from exercising to digesting, just back and forth. We're constantly putting so many different requests to our brain. Hey, help me out this way, help me out this way. And so our brain has to be flexible. And so how do we increase flexibility in your brain? And that's where BrainTime is so effective. That's why BrainTime helps people with brain injuries, people with seniors, people with strokes, people with kids, people with stress, people with sleep. All that stuff is helping build flexibility in the brain. So let's, what we do with BrainTime, it's a listening program. So you listen through headphones for 5 minutes twice a day. And Greg and I want to get everybody a sample of what this sounds like. Now, we can't do it through headphones, but you can still get like a feel for how this thing, how BrainTime sounds. And Greg, can you play that sample now?
Do you have it?
I emailed it to you. I don't have it. I don't know if I could.
Yeah, I have it. I thought you were gonna. I didn't get it teed up. I'll have to find it real quick.
Okay.
I know you emailed it to me, but I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't put it in the system. Let me see here.
Maybe I don't know.
I have it right
if I
here.
was more facile here, I could like plug it in here into my.
Okay, let me see if this is gonna work.
Okay, great. If we can get people listening to it, it's really unique sound. There you go. Can you get the volume up?
Okay, so can you hear this?
Yeah, I can hear it, Greg, and there's some kind of reverb on there, but yeah.
Is it too much reverb, or is it
No,
how it's supposed?
Let's see. Go ahead and play the rest of that little sample, and hopefully we can give people a taste of how this thing sounds. Okay.
Well, that was interesting.
Yeah. So now this was, you heard this sound like out in the air. It actually is. We don't deliver it that way. We deliver it through headphones because you heard those pulsation sounds like wah 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 or wah 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 at different speeds. those sounds go back and forth between your two ears. So they're in one ear or the other. And so we're stimulating one ear to affect the other side of the brain, and vice versa. So when we put the sounds in the two sides of two different ears, it helps the two sides of our brain communicate back and forth together and be very flexible. So those pulses that you hear in this sound that at least we attempted to have you hear were they're resetting the rhythms in your brain that are constantly going on, and they help your brain shift from one activity to another. So now let's move on here.
And are those only a minute long, or how long are those little sound clips that we have to listen to?
No,
How long are those?
5 minutes a couple times a day, and we have 6 different kinds of trainings. This is one that we called Relax. We have another one called Focus, another one called Sleep, another one called I'm going to go over all those with you in a little while, but 6 different trainings that you use for different conditions and at different times of the day. And generally they're 5 minutes, and we recommend 2 times a day listening. Okay, so we've taken those sounds and then folded them into a program, Sleep Well, Live Well program. So we have a group of 6 listening exercises. You just heard one of them. Nourish your brain listening exercises. So listening to the sounds is soothing and nourishing to our brain. And it's almost like fertilizer for your brain and water for your brain to help it function better. Okay? It builds flexibility, and it's very nourishing for your brain. Now, we also have an audio video library as part of this Sleep Well, Live Well program, which we're going to tell you more about, which we are right now. An audio library about how your brain helps heal your body. We touched on some of this earlier with the idea, Greg, with your wife and asthma, and your experience with not needing to go to the chiropractor. So heal your brain, heal your body. And we have, let's go back to the heal your brain, heal your body. We have a audio video library that has lots of different lessons in it. Happiness in your brain, reduce anxiety and worry, exercise in your brain, nutritional strategy for your brain and your immune system, relationships in your brain, that kind of thing. Now, let's go back to the listening exercises that you heard one of. Again, Greg, 5 minutes twice a day. You need headphones. It has to be through headphones. Earbuds are fine. They do not have to be fancy headphones. Earbuds are fine. You need an internet connection, and cell phone is great. Okay, so now let's go what else we offer in this program. And we have these positive neurology email lessons that we referenced a little bit earlier about, hey, how everything from when do you do exercise, what kind of exercise do you do if you have a hard time falling asleep, what kind of exercise do you do if you have a hard time staying asleep. So that's our neurology email lessons. And then we have also a question and answer call where you get on the call once a month. We take time, like we're going to do right now after this call, at the end of this webinar. So anyway, we charge $29 per month for this program. $29 per month. It's a membership program. You use it for as long as you want, and then you can cancel it anytime. It's $29 per month membership. So we get a number of really common questions. I just want to answer them now. People ask, can I download the listening exercises? And the answer is no, we don't offer that, because we change those exercises every 2 weeks or so, 2 or 3 times a month, in order to vary the stimulation to your brain. So it's kind of like you go to the gym and you do a workout. So listening to those exercises, as pleasant as it is, those listening exercises that you were just listening to, it's exercise for your brain, and it's going to grow certain muscles in your brain, quote unquote. And we're going to change it up a little bit in 2 weeks, and it's like varying your workout routine a little bit, cross-train just a little bit. So no, we don't offer, you can't download the listening exercises. Yes, you can download everything in the audio library and the video library and that kind of stuff. Another common question that we get is, let's see here. A really common one is, how long until I see results? And generally what we tell people, some people see really dramatic, fast results. And a significant portion of people, it's not everybody, but a number of people get really fast results. And one little boy came in with Asperger's. His mom brought him in. He had a hard time falling asleep for years. It would take him 2 hours to fall asleep every night. And after 2 nights, yeah, really short, really fast, he was falling asleep in 5 minutes. And we get those kinds of stories. It's not, it's not the rule, but it does happen. So how long until I notice results? It might be really fast. What we tell people is do it for a month, 5 minutes twice a day for a month. And most people notice significant improvement within that 1 month period. So how long until I notice results? And that is, try it for a month. Most people notice significant improvement within a month. And then we often get the question is, what's the difference between BrainTime and other kinds of programs to help your brain? And one really common one is Lumosity, which I imagine a lot of people on this call are familiar with. Lumosity, Greg, is this program, in case you or anybody doesn't know about it, it's a program where people do exercises for their memory. It's kind of like games. Exercises for their memory or their reaction speed or any number of different cognitive training skills. And the problem with that kind of training is that the results don't generalize. And what that means is you might get really good. You practice memorizing a grocery list, but dang it, it doesn't really help you remember where you parked your car. Or it doesn't really help you with your balance, or it doesn't really help you with sleep. So the results don't generalize. You'll get better at the game that you're practicing, but that skill only, and the results don't generalize. So that's fundamentally different than BrainTime. BrainTime, you're not practicing, like a memory skill, or you're not practicing these cognitive skills. They tend to get better, but it's because the benefits from BrainTime generalize so much. So let's move on to the next big question we get. A lot of people say, hey, how is this different than other listening programs? So there's programs out there like HemiSync and HoloSync and that use primarily either binaural beats or isochronic beats. And the difference is that they're not establishing natural rhythms in your brain. And BrainTime gets more done faster. So those generally you listen for an hour to. An hour at a time that they recommend for people. And here we say 5 minutes twice a day because we're getting more to the fundamental way of how the brain works. Okay, and then a lot of people say, hey, I have to do this thing 5 minutes twice a day. Well, I'm never going to fit that into my schedule. How am I going to do that? I have a family life and I'm busy and gee, I love the idea, but do I have the time? And so, yes, it does take time. It does take time. But what most people find is that, man, like this is, number one, is pleasant and relaxing and de-stressing. And number two, they're more efficient. And the time question just becomes a kind of a moot point. And with
that, I got to say something with that. So with anything in life, you go back to what's important to you, right? Yeah. And it's like you'll spend time and you'll cut out something else to make time for something else if it's important to you. So it really boils down to how important is your health to you, how important is you feeling better, sleeping better, and plus the long-term effects of having good sleep and good health.
That's right.
Diseases and all that kind of stuff. So you really got to prioritize it and commit to doing it, and then you got to make it a habit of doing it, and then it's a life-changing event. The compound effect, changes your life. So really you got to look at that and go, and I always tell people, what's the cost? What's the cost to you if you don't do it? Right? You look at that, and so let's talk about the cost of, well, I got to take this much time, or I got to spend this much money, or whatever that is. Let's talk about what the cost is if you don't do it.
Yeah. Yes. Amen. That is so true. And still, it is a real challenge. I mean, we've all done this stuff of, we want to establish a healthy habit. It takes work. It truly does. And especially for the first 30 days, it takes work. And so one of the things that we build into our program is we help you in our email lessons establish the habit of this healthy habit. And there's all kinds of ways to do it. You can tie it with something you're already doing during your daily routine. These kind of habit change phenomena is skills are important. So yeah, we'll help you through that process, making the time. So Greg, you and I talked about making having an offer for your folks. Do you want to take it here?
Well, we talked about this, and so Dr. Otis has a membership, right? And he's got this place where you're going to log in with your username and password. You're going to get access to this. You're getting access to his team, or actually not his team, but access to just what he's doing to help you out. And I said, can you make a special offer, give a discount for our team? And he said, yeah, we'll do it. And the idea was, look, if this is something, and I just did the poll while you were talking about how much sleep you get, and we have 18% of the people on the call get less than 4 hours of sleep, 27% get less than 6 hours of sleep, and 55% get less than 8 hours of sleep. So when you think about that, you go, if this is something you need, if this is something that you resonate with Dr. Otis, and you think this is something I need, this is something I want, then sign up, give it a try. And I said, you got to offer a guarantee, because like if that doesn't work for them, then people should have to pay for it. So you can talk about what that costs, what those costs are, how it works, and what your guarantee is.
Yep. So we have a money back guarantee of try it for a month, 30 days. And if you're not satisfied for any reason, whatever, your dog ate your homework, any reason at all, just let us know. We'll refund your money, every penny of it. And so with our program, it's there's no obligation, $29 a month for the life of your subscription. And they're just absolutely no obligation. Cancel at any time, as long as we want you to get benefit from this, and we're going to do everything we can to support you getting benefit with this thing. And money back guaranteed. So we're making it so easy, just so easy to get this and use it and benefit in your life.
Yeah, and again, it goes back to I want to try it. I want to get it going. I want to get my mom on it. So let me ask you a question about my mom. So my mom's really suffering from rheumatoid arthritis, and she's just got a ton of pain and a ton of inflammation, and it's causing her not to sleep well. Which, as you said earlier, now it's compounding that unhealthy, right. And just the compounds and makes it all worse. And we do notice when she does get a good night's sleep, for whatever reason that is, maybe she took a Tylenol, or maybe she took something to help her with that. The next day the pain's not there. So what's your thoughts on that, helping with that?
So many times when you get your brain better, it helps control sleep. And the reason, Greg, is, I'm sorry, I said that wrong, control pain. The reason, Greg, is your brain regulates pain. And so it might be a little bit nerdy, but a soldier can have his leg blown off on the battlefield, walk off the battlefield and not feel any pain. And then after, then, wow, there's tremendous damage. Now he starts to feel pain. The leg is amputated. And then that same soldier can feel excruciating pain in a leg that's not there. The pain is in their brain. And so, so with conditions like fibromyalgia, one of the treatments is, hey, let's try antidepressant medication. We up the level of activity in the somatosensory cortex of your brain, and there's less pain. And so many people, sleep helps your brain work better, so there's less pain. BrainTime helps you get sleep, which helps your brain, and so there's less pain. And BrainTime helps your brain just straight away. So we definitely get reports. It's not universal, so I'm not making a claim here, but I can tell you we have lots of reports of people who feel less pain because their brain's working better.
So I put a link up on the side. So you click on that link, it takes you to a web page, and it's $10 a month. You got your 30 days to give it a try. And for a measly $10 a month, why wouldn't you give it a try, right? And again, it goes back to, and maybe it's not measly. Maybe there's people on the call that's a lot of money, and I understand that. But I go back to, when I mean measly, it's like your health is the most important thing. And actually, I got to, speaking to myself, I'm 52. I've always had good health, but for the first time in my life, I'm starting to think, man, I got to really be concerned and think about, because I've been sitting in a desk in a chair for about 20 years now. It's like, this is ridiculous. It's
Yeah.
like, I don't have the activity that I should. I don't walk like I should. I don't lift
Yeah.
weights. I don't get the exercise. So I need to start doing this. And then me personally, I've had the personal experience by doing these exercises, and then maybe in the brain and my wife and her asthma, to make me study this more. And I am convinced it all starts with the brain.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter. You need to take, I'm a big person on minerals and taking minerals and vitamins and supplements. But again, with an unhealthy brain, what good is it going to do to assimilate that stuff and make it help your body? So it all starts with the brain. A healthy brain, everything functions from the brain, because the brain tells every part of our body what to do and how to function.
Yeah, I want to make a clarification. These are such great points. One clarification is the offer we decided to offer for your group, and it's time limited, or it's only for a short period window of time here, to make it $19 per month, which is $10 off less than.
Oh, I typed that wrong on the screen. So it says $10 per month, but it's really $10 off. That's my fault.
So it's $19 per month, which is a $10 per month savings. So 120 a year savings. Yeah. So, and then back to the point, Greg, that you were talking about, how, yes, like minerals and vitamins and, good diet, that is important. It truly is important. So, but you need to also do your brain.
Yep. No, you think about that, and it's like you just, the brain, I mean, I've read and studied so much about it. The brain is everything. The brain is everything. So if you have any questions, type your questions in. Let's see if we can get any questions going. And again, we want you to make a decision. I told Dr. Otis, I said, look, you don't need to have this open-ended and give a $10 discount forever. It's just like, no, 30 minutes. So you guys got 30 minutes to ask some questions. That there's a countdown timer going. After 30 minutes, it's going to go back to the $29 a month, which again, that's pretty insignificant too, when it relates to your health and the results you're going to get. And again, I'm going to tell you, if you don't get results, you call them up and you're going to get a refund. Right? If you don't see results, you don't see it happening. And that's what I love about working with people and exposing new people. And I don't really, you guys know me, I've never offered or had anyone offer anything to my group, my tribe, my people that believe in me and trust me, if they don't stand behind what they do. So you got the guarantee. You should give it a try. If you're having these issues, give it a try. And I want to get my friend on who's like, he needs the sleep. I'm not sure why he doesn't sleep, but again, it's amazing to me that people go off less than 4 hours sleep. I don't know how you do it. I'm fortunate that I go to sleep probably usually within 5 to 10 minutes of going to bed, and other than having to wake up and go to the restroom in the middle of the night, I sleep pretty good. I don't really have a problem with that.
That's a blessing.
Yeah. So I'm going to see, what questions do we have? What questions do we have? Would we receive the CDs? Janet's asking, would we receive the CDs?
So that's what we were talking about earlier. We don't offer a download or CDs. So what you do is you need to have an internet connection, and we stream this and we update it. And I'm going to go back to what we need.
So it's just like a little radio player. You go to a web page that's going to be in a password protected area. You click play and it's going to play, and you can do it from your phone. So if you have a smartphone like I do, you can have your headphones set up your smartphone and it's going to play, or you can do it on your computer and you're just going to listen to it that way, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I shared my screen again here. So what you're going to need, 5 minutes, number one, the time. Number two, you need headphones, some kind of little earbuds. You need an internet connection. And so most people use their cell phone or a tablet, and then you log in and access your account and listen to the trainings. Great question.
No, and somebody else asked a really cool question. This really makes it really affordable. So depending on how you answer this, so it says, can we use it for the whole family?
Yes, absolutely. So so yes, use this. This is a family account. You do not need to get separate subscriptions for your mom and your dad and your children and your aunt in the next state. You have one username and password. Just share it around. And what we do, we allow up to 5 IP address logins per username. So if you know what that means, you can access it from work, and you got different computers and different family members.
Yeah, no, and Diane is asking, is it $10 a month or $19 a month? I'm sorry, Diane, I messed up when I first typed it in. It's $19 a month, which is $10 off the normal $29 a month. Can abuse affect sleep?
Absolutely. Yeah, we talked about how stress, so abuse sets up chronic stress signals in the brain that stress circuits aren't, in some cases, turning off. And so, yes, it can. And you need to learn ways to turn off the stress signal. And Greg, if we could get into like a whole interesting field of, can abuse affect sleep and cause stress? Absolutely, yes. And we're all familiar with this phenomenon called post-traumatic stress syndrome, and that something stressful like abuse, trauma like abuse, can cause this stress syndrome. Now, there's also another field, this growing interest of post-traumatic growth. So we can learn and grow from whatever situation we're in if we have a healthy brain and a healthy perspective. So anyway, that was a great question.
And I don't know if you want to comment on this, but one of them, let's see, Marilia said that she never used to have problems sleeping until she since menopause, and then now she's got trouble going on now.
Yeah.
So do you got any comments on that?
I sure do. That's one of the most common things we get, or not get, but I want to show you something here. I'd say, number one, Marilee, you're not alone. 1/3 of people going through menopause have troubles with sleep. And that's one of the really common things that benefits that we notice is that people with I'm trying to find a couple testimonials here, and my slider isn't working. Oh, you know what? I'm on the wrong page. Hold on just a second. That's one of the things we hear back frequently, is that people going through menopause have an easier time sleeping. So yes, it's a common problem with menopause, and BrainTime often helps.
Hey, let me ask you a question about pillows.
Sure.
I keep hearing there's a client that wants to hire us to maybe do some marketing for them, and they have a mattress company, and then they sell pillows, and they were talking about their pillows, and then I heard an ad about, I got the world's best pillow, and it'll help you sleep better, and blah, 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 blah. What do you think about that?
So the major thing that I always coach people here is that have your head level, sleep on your side, and that's the healthiest position to sleep in. And one side or the other, you can rotate back and forth. Sleeping on your back or sleeping on your stomach is not as healthy. And I'm getting off here on a little bit of a tangent, Greg, but there's even studies for animal studies where the position, whether you're on your back, on your side, or whatever, sleeping position affects the rate of Alzheimer's, because it affects the circulation, the drainage around the brain that we talked about. So anyway, sleep on your side and have the pillow height such that there's a straight line from your neck to your head. Your head is not tilted up or down. So that's the major thing with pillows.
Okay. Hey, and then I'm going to address this real quick. So Rudy said he went to the site and his malware says the site is unsafe. And I'm like, no, the site's safe. I don't know why it would say that, but
I haven't heard that. Maybe Rudy, send that clip to support a BrainTime if you would, and we'll have our tech people look into it. But we don't hear that often at all.
Can you go to on your browser? Can you go to the page yourself?
Are you talking to me right now?
Yeah. Like just launch your browser and show them what the link's going to look like, and
sure, okay,
what the site looks like. I guess I could do it too.
So I'll have to learn how to share it.
Oh, you're already sharing your screen. Just launch your browser over your minimize your PowerPoint.
Okay.
And launch a browser.
Okay, let me go to screen sharing on the Google Hangout. Okay, let's go here. Oops. Okay, let's go here. Oh, I'm not, okay, let's see.
Here, I'll do it real quick.
Yeah, you might be more technologically facile than I.
So see, I just went to the screen. Firefox has prevented outdated Adobe Flash. So maybe that's what your malware is saying. So you guys can see my screen probably, and it says Firefox has prevented the outdated plugin Adobe Flash from running on the BrainTime.
Okay.
So
Well,
there's just a flashed item, which is a website coding, and it needs to be updated. So we'll get his guys to do that. So I'm going to hit allow, and then allow now. And then basically just he comes here and he recaps that you're going to, what you're going to get: unlimited access to the 6 patent pending Nourish Your Brain listening exercises. You're going to get access to the entire Put Brain Science to Work audio and video library. You're going to get live monthly Heal Your Brain, Heal Your Body question answer calls. So he's going to do monthly calls with you and access to the recordings. Weekly positive new neurology email lessons, easy to use technology, and no long-term commitments. And you click the sign me up, and then it'll take you to the credit card page where you can say, I want to pay with PayPal or I want to pay with my credit card. And then you click on your credit card and you put your information in here and then hit place your order. So let's see, go back here, stop sharing my screen. Okay, so if you have any more questions, well, let's see if we have any more questions, then we'll wrap things up. Yeah, no, and Elizabeth, she said she just woke up and missed the offer and the link of the website. No, the offer's on the right-hand side, and it's $19 a month, 100% money-back satisfaction guaranteed. Try it for 30 days. Listen to the audios, get access to the calls. He also does monthly calls, and he records those. And you're gonna have access to that stuff, and he's gonna do everything he can to get your brain healthy, and you're going to have different results. Everyone's going to have different results, and everyone's going to have different results of their life, because it affects everyone's brains in a different state, right? But even like with my wife, I mean, we did that brain stuff, and her asthma went away that she's had for 30, 40 years, right? It's amazing. So, oh, Chrissy says I was never sharing my screen. Oh, sorry about that. So the website, Elizabeth, is, let's see, I'll get you the link. I'll paste the link into the chat bar. Is there any more questions? So let's go everybody. Boom, there's the link. So now you can click in the link. I put it in the chat bar. Everyone should see the link. Chrissy, that's funny. Is it good to listen to meditation before you fall asleep, or can it affect your sleep patterns?
I don't know what meditation is.
Meditation
So
music or sounds or?
Try it. If it's helpful, go for it.
It's one of those things, right? If you sleep better and you sleep.
Do an empirical study.
Yeah.
Try it out.
What about sleep? What about sleeping in the next hour on the weekends?
I'll tell you when we get off, honey. My wife's asking me, why she wants to know about sleeping in on weekends.
Okay. Great question.
Elizabeth says she's in. Thank you. That takes you to the page where you get things going. So, all right, I don't see any more questions coming in. And so I think what we'll do is I'll give you one last call for questions and we'll wrap it up. So I want to say to you, Dr. Rose, I think it's just awesome what you're doing. And I just pray that God opens up more and more doors for you to get more and more exposure, get more of the stuff out there, because I do believe that natural things that we can do to be healthier are eminently better than the drugs that everybody is being prescribed to. And you meet some of these people and they got like just 35 drugs they're taking a day, and it's just sad to me. And the other thing that's really sad to me is when we have children, oh, that's a ADD, ADHD, and all these different labels and things they put on them, and they put them on different drugs. I don't like that either. Yeah. Where I believe that everybody should try these natural remedies as a method first before doing any of that stuff, because I just don't believe in that. And I do believe that God gave us this perfect body, and we abuse it constantly with our sleep, how we eat, what we do. And if we take care of our body and give it what it needs, our body can help heal itself. So
yeah. Greg, it's such a pleasure for me talking with you and your people.
no, I appreciate you very much. So we'll go ahead and wrap it up. And I always end these calls with what I do is I tell everyone, do what I do, wake up every day with an attitude of gratitude, and then tell somebody you love them and you have a better day. So thank you very much, Dr. Otis, but we'll call it a day.
Great. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you.